We all have things that we want to achieve in life. And if you don't, I really don't know what you're doing at this point, bro. But anyways, wanting to achieve things, that's the easy part. It's actually achieving them that's the hard part, if you didn't know. Especially as you get older and your goals change from beating video games and being the fastest kid at the park to starting a career and being an independent adult. And we both know it really doesn't help when you go online and you see people doing the things that you wish you were doing and making it look like it was no big deal, especially when they're younger than you. And then you just find yourself beating your meat every day, watching you know what, trying to cope. It also really doesn't help when you try to go online looking for advice and they give you these watered down answers or try to sell you some $200 course. And that's why today I'm gonna be giving you my 5-step guide on how to actually achieve your goals. I feel like this method really works for me, and if you're anything like me, hopefully it works for you too. Before we get started though, I am gonna recommend that you have a piece of paper or a journal and a pen out or your notes app open because it is gonna come in handy through a majority of this video. But if you don't have any of that, it's no big deal. You're gonna get the gist of it anyway. Number 1, define your goals. The number 1 step in achieving anything is to know what you're trying to achieve. Try thinking about a few goals that come to mind right now. If you're having a hard time thinking of any, just ask yourself the question, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And that could just be your goal. When setting goals, I like to use the SMART method. I learned about it in college. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers use it too, but basically SMART is an acronym which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So when setting a goal, try to make sure it hits all 5 of these letters because then you'll know if it's realistic and if you could actually do it or not. And like I said before, it helps to write this down because even after the video is done, you can keep coming back to it and have it for future reference. Number 2, break down the goal. Most goals are gonna require more than one step. I used to know this guy and he would always have all these ideas and goals and things he would wanna start, like businesses, and whenever I'd ask him like, all right, bro, what are the steps to actually doing it? Like, how are you gonna do this? How are you planning on doing this? He would just get defensive and change the topic, basically showing me that he had no clue what the hell he was doing and he was probably never gonna get it done. Long story short, don't be like that guy. When you have a goal in mind, try to actually break it down so you know what the steps are to actually achieving it. Not just for other people when they ask you, but for yourself. Because a lot of the times we set goals for ourselves and we really have no idea what the steps are actually getting there anyway. So take whatever goal is in your head right now, break it down into every single step. There's no limit of how many steps there could be. There could be 100 steps, there could be 5 steps. Write down every single step that you feel like you're gonna have to achieve and start checking them off once you start doing them. This could take days, months, years. It could take a while. It's like when you're playing Mario, bro. You know what level you're on, you know what world you're on, you know how close you are to beating the game. So you should know how close you are to beating your goals, because if you just have no idea where the finish line is, you could just be running forever and never know how to get there because you're running the wrong way. And that brings us on to number 3, set a timeline. It's good to set an actual timeline for a goal because we both know that if you don't have a timeline, you're just gonna slack off and not do it. It's like when you get assigned homework at school. You either slack off, procrastinate last minute and then turn in some half-ass shit, or you slack off and then forget about it and then don't turn it in and fail. But the main difference is you could slack off in school and turn in something last minute and still pass. It doesn't really matter. But with your real life goals, do you really want to half-ass it? You should want it to be as good as you could possibly make it. This way, when you actually get it, you don't have to worry about it later on. Granted, I know it's hard to like set specific dates. Like I like to set like, oh, within the next year, or next year I want to have this, or within the next 6 months, or next month I'm going to do this. It's hard to really say like, oh, March 31st, I'm going to have this done, because things happen, things change. You never really know what's going to happen. I just like to say have a timeline because you should have an estimate of how long you want it to be before you have it done, or when you want to have it done by. It just helps you hold yourself accountable a bit and helps you track your progress for how far you're coming along. But like I said, remember, things change, things happen. Sometimes the goal just, you change your mind or you even want to do it anymore. Just be open to the fact that it might have to be flexible and things pop up. And that brings us into number 4, staying focused and motivated. This step is probably the hardest one because, I mean, you already know, bro, it's hard. It really takes a lot of discipline to force yourself to stay motivated and work towards something, even when you're not feeling up to it. But if you really want something to happen more than anything, and this is like your big all-time goal, that's just really what it takes, bro. It can't be like a background thought. It can't be something that, oh, you occasionally work towards whenever you get a chance. If you really want something to happen, it needs to be something that like every day you wake up and this thing's in your head. Like you don't go a single day without thinking about this at least once and trying to make every step you can to push toward and making it happen. And that's why it's important to build up that discipline and force yourself into actually making shit happen and staying motivated even when you're not feeling like it. Because when you stop pushing yourself and stop forcing yourself to work hard and do better, you're really hurting yourself and your family and those around you who actually care about you and rely on you. And that brings us into the last step, step 5, and that is holding yourself accountable. And when I say holding yourself accountable, no, I don't mean busting out a ukulele and playing me a song. I actually feel like holding yourself accountable might be harder because you really don't see a lot of people doing it and doing it right these days. But long story short, you can't rely on someone to hold your hand and make sure you get things done like we were in elementary school and the teacher's trying to make sure you pass. This isn't school, bro. Like, this is real life. Most people don't have the time to like sit back and make sure that you're doing what you have to do to make your goals come true because they're too focused on their own. And really the same should be said about you. You should be making sure that you're not putting more effort into other people's goals than you're putting into your own. 9 times out of 10, nobody's gonna be there giving you checkpoints and telling you what the next steps are and congratulating you and making sure that you're not slacking off when it comes to your life. Most of the time, people are gonna hear you talk about these big goals you have and then see you slack off and then just assume that you don't want it that much. You need to hold yourself accountable. When you see that you're not making as much progress as you should be and you're slacking off and you're not doing the right thing, you're the one who has to have those tough conversations with yourself and let yourself know, like, bro, what the hell are you doing, bro? You need to stay on task. Something I personally do at the start of every month is in my journal, I write, what are the things I need to do this month to make sure that I'm on task and how am I gonna do them and when should I do them by? And at the end of the month, I like to check back in and say like, yo, did I actually make progress? And if I didn't, I have that real conversation with myself right there on paper and I let myself know like, bro, you're not doing what you have to do. You need to work harder. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do that. I like to do it on paper because then once it's in paper, I had the conversation, is right there. There's no running from it. I can't act like I didn't have it because it's right there. I can look back at it, whatever. Holding yourself accountable is really one of the most important things you can do in life because it really builds a lot of character. It builds a lot of self-discipline and you just have to have those conversations with yourself, bro. When you fuck up, you gotta let yourself know you fucked up. But anyways, guys, those are my steps on how to actually achieve your goals and hopefully they helped you out. If they did, leave a like, leave a comment. I love to hear your thoughts. I love to hear what you think and what your goals are and how you plan on achieving them and what you do different. My name's Max, and if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.
Wake up out the door, it's time to get this money. So many pitfalls in my life, that shit ain't even funny. Them rainy nights had them days looking mad sunny. My clothes nice, remember when them shits was mad.